Game changer? Maybe. But a significant overture, no doubt, made to Ukraine today. One that could deliver to the country under attack the closest thing yet to a no-fly zone. Today, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Mark Milley, held a news conference at the NATO Defense Ministers Summit in Brussels, told reporters the U.S. and its allies will provide an air missile defense system to protect Ukraine from possible Russian missile strikes.
What Ukraine is asking for and what we think can be provided is an integrated air missile defense system. So that doesn't control all the airspace over Ukraine, but they're designed to control priority targets that Ukraine needs to protect.
General Milley explained that many countries have different types of air missile defense systems. He said the challenge is to get each missile defense system to work together with all the others to defend Ukraine from Russian missile and drone attacks. Technically challenging, he said, but achievable. The NATO meeting comes after Russian forces launched a wave of missile strikes on civilian targets across Ukraine. Ukrainian officials say the attacks killed more than 30 people and hurt dozens of others in the past 2 days. Meantime, Ukrainian forces continue to break through Russia's front lines in the country's south. Ukrainian officials say its military has recaptured 5 villages in the Kherson region. As they push deeper into Russian-controlled territory, Ukrainian troops have begun to encounter Moscow's brand-new recruits on the battlefield. A senior Ukrainian military official told NBC's chief foreign correspondent Richard Engel that these newly mobilized Russians are good for Ukraine because, and I'm quoting, they are rounding up drunks, alcoholics, looters, and anyone they can find and send them without training or expertise. They're easier to fight than an experienced army. A Ukrainian military officer added hundreds of Russian convicts offered pardons for combat have already showed up on the battlefield in Ukraine, and that some have gone AWOL with their weapons to carry out crimes back in Russia. Careful. William Taylor's with us, former U.S. ambassador to Ukraine. Ambassador, can't thank you enough. Would a unified air missile defense system change the course of this war if NATO allies are able to pull this off?
So, Shep, it could. This is a big request from the Ukrainians from the beginning, and we will recall the questions about closing the sky at the early stages of this war. So this has been a long time in coming. General Milley's right. It's going to be a challenge to get all these different systems to work together, but that's what NATO does. That's why NATO is so effective. It takes the allies and melds them and their capabilities together. So this could be a real benefit to Ukraine to protect it from the only thing, Shep, the only thing that the Russians have left, the only thing that President Putin has left is to be able to lob missiles, ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, airstrikes, to lob them into civilian targets, into playgrounds, into pedestrian bridges. He doesn't have anything left. You just described his problems with ground troops. The only thing he's got left is these missiles, and these missiles are now in jeopardy. It could well be that this is a game changer that can protect Ukraine from the only thing that Putin's got left.
But, Ambassador, a senior NATO official told Reuters that a Russian nuclear strike in Ukraine would almost certainly be drawing a physical response from many allies and potentially from NATO itself. That looked like the start of a new red line to you?
Shep, this whole question of nuclear is, I think, still a very low probability.
Yeah.
It's not zero. Certainly when President Putin, as a dictator with nuclear weapons, when he talks about it, we have to take it seriously. But the chances are very low that they would, that he, Putin, or that the Russians would actually use these weapons. And he's been told, Putin and his team, they've been told very clearly what would happen. Jake Sullivan said a week and a half ago, catastrophic consequences if they use these kinds of weapons. So they know what comes, and the catastrophic consequences will not be nuclear in all likelihood. Yeah. They'll be conventional, and they will wipe out Russian military in Ukraine.
Ambassador William Taylor, thank you very much.